Have you bought this crochet kit from Kmart? Are you completely confused by the instructions? If so, know that you're not alone. Throw the instructions away, watch this tutorial instead, and I'll show you how to make these granny squares. And if you hang around to the end, I'll also show you how to turn your granny squares into this cute little airpod case. This is a very beginner friendly tutorial. However, if this is your very first time picking up a crochet hook, you might want to check out my Learn How to Crochet for Absolute Beginners playlist before you get into this tutorial. In particular, you'll want to watch the videos on how to hold your hook and yarn, how to do a magic circle, and how to do a double crochet. Okay, so this is everything that you get included in the kit, is a sort of random amount of different coloured yarn, and they also include a 2.5mm crochet hook. I'm going to use my own crochet hook for this tutorial. This is my 2.5mm Clover and More. So to start, we're going to make a magic ring. Now magic rings can be a little bit tricky, especially if you're new to crochet. So if this is your first time trying a magic ring or magic circle, be sure to check out the beginner's tutorial that I've linked down in the description below. That is a slower tutorial for how to do the magic circle, and in that tutorial I also show you an alternative approach where you can do a chain instead of a magic circle if you're really struggling to get the hang of it. Okay, so you can kind of use any color combination you like. I'm not sure if the amount of yarn is designed to match these 4 patterns, so I will try and follow this color combination. So I'm going to start with the dark pink. And to do a magic circle, you want to hold your yarn tail facing down between your thumb and first finger. Then you're just going to wrap the yarn around your 2 fingers underneath and do a cross over the top like so. So on the top you'll have an X, underneath you'll have 2 horizontal bars. Then you want to insert your crochet hook under this top strand of yarn here, so underneath this strand, and then we're going to grab this strand with the head of our crochet hook and we're just going to pull it through to the other side, and then we're going to twist our crochet hook and push it through so that we're sitting on top. Now you don't want this to be too tight because we need to pull some yarn through this loop. Then for the final step, we're going to grab this bit of yarn here with the head of our crochet hook and we're just going to pull that through the loop that's on our hook. And that's magic circle. So I'll show you that one more time. Yarn tail facing down, wrap it around your first 2 fingers into an X. Under this top strand, grab the second strand, pull it through and twist it on top, and then grab this strand of yarn here and pull that through the loop on your hook. Now I'm going to make a slight deviation to the pattern here because they don't do a chain stitch, which really you need for the start of your row. So we're going to begin by chaining 3. So to do a chain you just want to yarn over and then pull that yarn through the loop on your hook, and we want to do that 3 times. So this initial chain 3 is going to serve as our first double crochet. Then we want to do 2 more double crochets into the magic circle. In UK crochet terminology, I'm going to be using US terminology to be consistent with all of the other Kmart tutorials that I've done on my channel. So to do a double crochet, you want to yarn over, then we're going to insert the crochet hook into the circle. Then you want to yarn over again and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Then you'll yarn over and pull through the first of those 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. Again, if you're new to crochet, be sure to check out the beginners tutorials that I've included in the description below, including the one for doing a double crochet. Then we're going to do 1 more double crochet. And this here is now our first cluster of 3 stitches, our initial chain 3 and 2 double crochets. Then we're going to chain 1 and do our next cluster of 3 double crochets. So 3 double crochets in a row, all again into the magic circle. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll chain 1, and we'll just repeat this 2 more times. So another group of 3 double crochets, chain, and another 3 double crochets. So once you've done your 4 clusters, then you can just pull on this initial yarn tail and it will close up your work into something like this. So to close up row 1, we now want to slip stitch back into our original chain 3. So this was our chain 3 here, 1, 2, 3, and then we just want to insert our crochet hook into that chain, that third chain, and then we're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through that loop and then also through the loop on our hook, and that's a chain stitch. Then we're going to fasten off because we're going to change colour, so you just want to cut a yarn tail and then yarn over and pull that yarn all the way through, and that's how you fasten off. Then we're going to switch to our next yarn colour, which is this light pink. Now we're actually going to be working into the chain spaces, so between each cluster you did 3 double crochets, then there was a chain 1 and then another 3 double crochets and then a chain 1, and it's into these chain 1 spaces, so the spaces between the clusters is where we're going to be working. So to change yarn colour, you just want to insert your hook into any one of those chain spaces, drape the new coloured yarn over your crochet hook, and then just pull it through to the front of your work like so. Then we're going to start round 2 with another chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and again this will serve as our first double crochet. So to complete this cluster we want to do another 2 double crochets all into that same chain space. Now this is going to serve as the corner of our granny square, so we're going to do 3 chains for the corner, and then we're going to do another cluster of 3 double crochets all still into the same chain space. So you just want to yarn over, go back into that chain space and do another 3 double crochets. And that's your first little corner. Now we're just going to repeat this 4 times, so you want to skip your next 3 double crochets or your next cluster and then work into the next chain 1 space, so this next space after those 3 double crochets, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 3 and another 3 double crochets. So 3 double crochets, 3 chains, and another 3 double crochets, again back into the same chain 1 space. And we just repeat the process again for our next corner. So again, count 3 double crochets and then work into the subsequent chain space, doing 3 double crochets, a chain 3 and another 3 double crochets. And then repeat the step one more time into the last chain 1 space. Once you've done your final corner, now we're going to join back to the start of the row with another slip stitch. So again, you're just working into the top of your initial chain 3, so there's 1, 2, 3 chains. Just insert your crochet hook under the top loop of that final chain, yarn over, pull the yarn through the stitch as well as the loop on your hook. And again, we can fasten off, so just cut a yarn tail, yarn over and pull all the way through. Our next colour is going to be this green. Okay, so this time you want to work into one of the side spaces. So you've got your 4 corner spaces, and then between those 4 corner spaces you've got 4 spaces along the side. So you just want to insert your crochet hook into one of those spaces between clusters. And again, just drape the yarn over your crochet hook and pull it to the front. And again, we will start with a chain 3. And then we'll do 2 double crochets into that same space. And that's our first cluster. Then you're going to chain 1, and now we're going to work into the corner space. So this is the chain 3 space at the corner. There we're going to do 3 double crochets. Then chain 3, and another 3 double crochets into the same corner. Then we'll chain 1, and into the side space we're just going to do 1 cluster of 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and then into the corner we'll do the same as what we did in this corner, so 2 clusters of 3 double crochets connected by a chain 3. You're just going to continue this pattern around. So next you'll do a chain 1, do a cluster of 3 double crochets into the side space, chain 1, do 2 clusters into the corner space connected by a chain 3, chain 1, cluster into the side space, chain 1, another 2 clusters joined by 3 double crochets, and I'll meet you back here to join up the round. So when you've done your final corner, again you just want to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch back to the start of the row as we have for the other rows, and fasten off. Now for the final row we're going to use the purple yarn. Now we're just going to follow the same pattern for the final row, so into the side spaces, and now you have 2 side spaces, you'll just do a single cluster joined by a chain 1. Into the corners you'll do 2 clusters joined by a chain 3. So insert your hook into any one of the side gaps, pull the yarn through to the front, again start with a chain 3 and 2 double crochets for that initial cluster. And then the pattern is just the same, so chain 1 and do the next side space, assuming you started in the same place as I have. Chain 1, and then into each of the corner spaces again we'll do 2 clusters joined by a chain 3. and just continue this pattern all the way around. And then we just join and fasten off this row like we have the others. And then the final step for our granny square is to weave in these ends. So to weave in your ends you need a tapestry needle. They do include a plastic one in the kit, but they're pretty hard to use, so I'm going to use my metal one. And essentially you want to take each yarn tail and just thread it onto your tapestry needle. And then we're going to weave it in and through your stitches. And this is really just to ensure that it doesn't come undone. So there's no kind of perfect science to this, but essentially you want to work under a few different stitches and in a few different directions so that the yarn is nice and secure. So once you've woven it through a few times and you're confident it's not going to come undone, then you can trim the yarn tail close to the work. So then you just want to repeat this for all of your remaining yarn tails. And there's your first granny square done. So you just want to repeat this process exactly, but just alternating the colours to complete all 4 of your granny squares. Okay, so once you've made all 4 of your granny squares, now I'm going to show you how you can turn them into a airpod case or a headphone case. Okay, so firstly choose which square you want to be the flap that will go over, that you'll use to open and close your case. And then just lay out your squares into a 4 pattern like so, with the right side facing up. So it can be a little bit hard to tell which side is the right side, but and really it doesn't actually matter. Whatever side you prefer to be facing out is the one you want facing up, but you'll see the stitches are just a little bit more defined on the right side than the wrong side. Okay, so once you're happy with the placement and order of your squares, now we're going to join them along these middle joins here to begin with. So take your first 2 squares, and then you want again the right side facing out, and just face the 2 squares next to each other with the wrong sides facing in. And we're going to use a slip stitch joining method. So you want to grab the yarn that you'd like to use as a contrast colour. I'd typically suggest using the yarn that you've got most of, but I really like this hot pink color, and I'm going to try use this as my border color. I'm hoping I'll have just enough, but you can use really any of the colors of yarn that you have left over. And then to join, you're just going to insert your crochet hook into the corner space of your first square and also through the corner space of the next square. Then you want to drape the yarn over your hook and pull it through to the front, and then we're just going to do a chain. So just yarn over and pull that through. Now we're going to work along this edge, working into both of our squares to join them together. So we're going to work into each of the double crochets and also into each of the chain stitches. So you want to go into the top of your first double crochet stitch. So you're just going under this V that's on the top of your stitch like so, And then you want to do the same thing on the matching stitch on the other side of your square. Then we're going to do a slip stitch. So to do a slip stitch, you just want to yarn over, pull that yarn through both of those 2 stitches. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, and then you want to pull this first loop through the second loop. So just catch it in the head of your crochet hook and pull it through the loop that's on your hook. And that's a slip stitch, and we're just going to do that all the way through. So again, I'm just going under both prongs of the V of the stitch, and I'm going through under both prongs of the V of this same stitch on the other granny square, yarning over, pulling that yarn through. You have 2 loops on your hook, and then pull this loop through the one on your hook. Now you can actually do a slip stitch in one motion. I'm just showing you the steps so you can see what I'm doing, but typically how I would do a slip stitch is to yarn over and then just pull all the way straight through, like so. So you want to do a slip stitch into each of those 3 double crochets. Then when you get to the chain space, you'll do the same thing, but just go into the chain space this time. So go into the space of both squares and then do a slip stitch. And then we'll do the same thing into the next 3 double crochets. So again, under that first stitch, under the V of the first stitch in the second square, and slip stitch. And we're just going to continue this all the way along the top of the squares. Okay, then once you get along the edge, now we're going to connect the next square, so we're going to do this join here. Now again, you want the right sides facing up. You just want to go into that corner space and then into the corner space of the square you are joining, into a slip stitch, and then we'll just continue along this edge in the same way. Okay, and then when you get to this edge here, you just want to a final chain to close off that row, and then we will fasten off this edge by yarning over and pulling all the way through. And then you just want to repeat this process with these 2 joins here. Now I should say as well, I quite like the look of the slip stitch join. It gives a bit of texture and contrast with the contrasting colour, but if you would prefer, you can do a mattress stitch seam with your tapestry needle, which is a more seamless look. So if you are interested in trying that approach, just search for mattress stitch and you'll find lots of tutorials on how to do that. Okay, so once you've finished that 4th edge, now you want to turn your work over, and now we're going to join our 3 of our corners like so. So whichever side you want to be the flap, just make sure you've got that at the top. So I'm going to continue along this edge here. And then next we'll join these 2 edges here. And then once you get to this corner, you can just fasten it off. Now if you want to, you can also continue the contrasting colour around this edge here. I don't quite have enough yarn to do that, but essentially you just work in the same way, but instead of going through 2 squares, you're just going through the one and just slip stitch all the way around, and then that will continue that border colour around the flap. Okay, then you just want to grab a button, and it needs to be a button that's going to fit through this chain 3 space here. So I think this pink one is going to be a little bit too big, but this purple one will work quite well. And then we're just going to attach the button to the fold. Again, you can use any of your contrast colour yarn or any of the yarn that you have left. And you just want to come through the fabric and through the button, but don't come all the way through, and you'll just want to make sure that you knot this. Actually, let's leave that loose for now, because I'll show you a more secure way to knot it at the end. And then we can knot these 2 together here. Check that that works. So now we just need to deal with the loose ends, which you can kind of just weave in the same way. If you've used a contrast colour like I have, you might just have to be a little bit careful that it doesn't show through. I suggest pushing your little case through to the wrong side and then working on this side to weave your ends in. And there's your little AirPod case done. So I wouldn't put anything too small in here because obviously it's got the holes that might come through, but I think this is kind of the perfect size for AirPods or perhaps your keys or something of that kind of size. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope that you found it useful. And if you made it to this point in the video, I'm so grateful. You are my people, and I am so glad that you found your way here. And if this project has got you hooked on crochet, be sure to like and subscribe for more info and inspo for new crochet makers. Also, if you're really wanting to master the art of crochet, be sure to check out my Learn How to Crochet kit in my YouTube storefront. So this kit is a little bit different from others that you'll find in the market. I've designed this kit more like a Learn How to Crochet masterclass in a box. And by that I mean that I've specifically designed the patterns so that they are ideal for beginners, cover all of the major stitches and techniques that you'll want to master when you're starting out. What this means is that by the end of the kit, you'll be able to tackle basically any beginner, advanced beginner, and even some intermediate crochet projects. So in this kit, you'll learn things like how to keep your edges straight, how to manage your tension, how to seam, and even how to do some color work. Each pattern builds on the skills that you learned in the previous pattern so that your confidence and your skill set will grow as you work through the kit. And by the end of the kit, you'll have some great little items that you can use around your house. The kit is also designed to teach you how to read a crochet pattern because I've included detailed long form written instructions alongside short form notation in the format that crochet patterns are typically written, along with detailed step-by-step tutorials. It also includes troubleshooting support and other handy tips and tricks. I've also designed the projects to expose you to different types of fibers, different styles of crochet, and different hook sizes, so you can start to learn what you really enjoy to crochet with. So make sure you go and check it out and let me know what you think. If you want to say thanks for any tutorial that you found useful, you can buy me a coffee, which is linked down in the description below. Thank you so much for crocheting with me today, and happy crafting!